Welcome to another Not Alone story. I'm Brandon Pickett, along with Pastor Philip King from Calvary Baptist Church, Winchester. Philip, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, Brandon, good to be with you.
I am so glad that you're there ministering in that fantastic community. And I always like to ask, when this started coming around in March and you knew things were going to be different, what was going through your mind?
Really, being a revitalization church, I mean, we were wanting to make some moves towards online giving and having an online presence with sermons, but it takes time and really it's been propelled forward with everything and really by necessity, just trying to be able to still minister to our people. So that was very much in my mind going right when we were getting into all of this of just what steps do we need to take to still be relevant to our people.
When did you get to Calvary Baptist Church? Tell us that story.
So I moved up from North Carolina in late 2017. So I've been there since then, and so just getting to know the area, getting to know Virginia, and really enjoyed thus far being here. So being in the ministry here.
And here you are, you're just about 2 years in, this thing hits, you're having to switch a little bit of how the church ministers, the people are going to having to adapt, but some interesting things have come about because of this. Can you tell us a couple of those kind of cool stories that God's been doing?
Sure. We, just like sort of a lot of other churches, just trying to be very innovative and creative right now. And one of the things that we wanted to do is that, being a smaller church, revitalization church, I mean, we can still pray some big prayers. And, we did some prayer drive-throughs so that, the community could just pull in and we could just from a social distance, pray for them. And we're right down from our local hospital. And I think we estimated like 3,000 cars were going by. Not all of them came in, but we had an impact, and really we won't know until we get to heaven what impact that was. And then coming from that, again being so close to the hospital, we just wanted to put together a prayer gathering at the hospital, to really just lift up and encourage our healthcare workers. I mean, we're not at the epicenter, but we had some cases, and there is we have some medical workers in our congregation, and knew that they were struggling with this whole thing as well. So we put that together, invited several churches, and really had a really good turnout. We had over 100 cars, and people were out there, and we put on their flashers, and some of the healthcare workers came out and they were waving and taking pictures, and I've heard a lot of good feedback from it. So I think they were highly encouraged, during all of that. And we actually, it was so successful, we're scheduling another one with adding a sort of a food donation component so that we can give back to our local food bank through those who come and participate.
That's really interesting. So taking something that you really didn't know what it was going to be, it says, hey, let's go out and pray for people. However many people would come. It was very successful, and people's lives were impacted because. So now you're going to do it again. So what else are you seeing on the horizon that maybe your people there at Calvary are gonna rally around?
So we started the Who's Your One campaign back in January, and I was sort of wondering how is that going to kick off, because we were sort of ramping that up for our Easter service, which we were able to have a drive in, and really I didn't know how we were going to do that, but God knew, and I have seen, and it's been very encouraging that really with our online presence of being able to go have messages online, that people my own personal one came through one of our drive-through prayers, and I was able to pray for him and his wife, which
Mm.
was just, I mean, blew me away that he just pulled in, and I was able to pray for him. He's attended, he came to our Easter service. He's listened to our online messages, and I've other folks in our church. They've been telling me stories of, hey, my one is not in the area, but they're joining in online, and so really, I had one of our members of our congregation say this is a digital revival, and in many ways, the gospel is being spread. I mean, we're seeing, our little church, we're seeing 3 to 4 times the number of folks that would are joining in online. So it's really been amazing to see all that God's been doing through this, and really the influence and impact that we've been able to have.
That is so exciting. A digital revival. I don't know if I've heard of that, but I really love that term. And
Mhm.
so tell us though, because you've said a couple times that you all are a revitalization church. Maybe
Mhm.
you could tell us how has the Church of the SBC of Virginia come alongside you in that revitalization effort?
So, I've been working with Rusty Small, with the revitalization cohort, and really just encouragement, just talking through things and finding out what other pastors are doing, and having a lot of the webinars and the Zoom calls that the SBCV has been doing has been an encouraging, to hear. And really, I love that the not you're not alone. That's really been encouraging all through this, because again, to go from really sort of zero to 100 miles an hour right now with all the online presence and stuff, it was a steep learning curve. But having been a couple weeks into it now, we see the fruit coming from that, and that's been encouraging. Also just you know uh, new online giving resources. We've seen people that have never given before. Now we have an online giving presence. I mean, people are giving, and so that's been really really encouraging. So we're just continuing to look for ways to both minister inside the church to our people, and then use this time, leverage this time to impact our community as well in whatever way. I mean, really, again, we're not a mega church, and we don't want to compare ourselves to anyone else, because obviously comparison kills. But um, we just want to do what we can do, and prayers are huge, and so that's been a really cool thing that I think we've been able to take on, and that has again had a major impact in the community.
Thank you so much for how you've been so faithful there in the Winchester area, reaching that area. Thank you so much for your creativity and for sharing that with us today.
Absolutely, thank you for having me.